Hello there and welcome to CoinPixels. Today we're going to be looking at the DayZ settings, recommended settings for the alpha version of DayZ at the moment. Now of course this may change in the future when beta comes out, or beta, whichever way you want to say that. The settings may change, the best settings might change depending on the updates that they bring in. And of course when a release comes out, it may change again as well. So we're just going to do the alpha settings at the moment, and hopefully it'll help you if your settings are not quite right, or whether you're just trying to perfect them, or you've just downloaded the game and you're wondering what settings they are. This video will be straight down your street. Okay, so the first thing which we need to do is go into Documents. Now I'm assuming you've downloaded DayZ and you're ready to go, so in your documents you'll have two folders, one DayZ, one DayZ other profiles. We're not going to be touching the other profiles one today. Some guides, some tutorials say you should go in there and change some bits. I personally don't think you should, because a lot of that stuff we can do in game. Okay, so I will not be going into that file today. However, the DayZ file folder, which is just above it, we will be going into, like so. So we've got this DayZ file in there called CFG file. DayZ.cfg, you'll probably see. The reason why mine hasn't got the dot is because I've assigned it to open with Notepad, so it just says type CFG file now. It doesn't have the extension. So you might see DayZ.cfg, just right click it, open. You will have an option saying use web service to find a program or whatever, and then go or select a piece of software to use for this file. You just choose that, choose Notepad, easy as that. Okay, so open Notepad and this is what you'll get. You get a bunch of settings. Half of them you'll look at and you'll think, what the hell does that do? But we're not changing all of them, we're only changing 3 of them. So literally it's just quick, change a few settings and then get out of there again. So it may look daunting, but in reality it's not. Okay, so let's have a look. Right, let me just give myself a quick recap on what ones we're changing. Right, okay, so it's the GPU max frames ahead that we're going to be looking at. So this here, that is going to be set to 4. Okay, this helps smooth your frames, and it may increase the performance as well. So it's pretty worthwhile to set that at 4. GPU detected frames ahead, which is the one just below that. That should be set to 0. This may help smooth your frames and increase performance as well. And then we've got refresh, which is set at 120. This will make VSync work better if you use VSync. I'm not going to be using VSync today, and I will subsequently be disabling it when we get into DayZ. However, if you are a user of VSync and you like using VSync, then make sure you set this to 120, because it will help it. Okay, and that's all we have to do in that file. Just hit save, and you can then exit that file. Okay, so I'm going to go and jump onto DayZ now, and then we'll be back with the DayZ settings in game. Okay, welcome back. We're on DayZ now, and what we need to do now is we need to go to configure, and this will bring up all the in-game options and settings. The field of view, you can set that to whatever you're comfortable with. That is purely your preference. That's just your field of view. Okay, so that's purely up to you. You can set that to whatever you want. I've got mine set to that, which is perfectly fine for me. Whether you want to change it, adjust it, up to you. Okay, so we're going to go into video settings now. The rest of the settings on that page you can leave the same, by the way. Overall quality you can set to custom, but you can set very high. I leave mine at custom. Wait for it to just reload. Whenever you change any video settings, it has to reload the game. So it says, right, there we go. Make sure this is set to 100%. The rendering resolution. If it's set to any less than that or more than that, the picture won't look totally right, and you might have a bit might look a bit weird. Brightness, again, up to your personal preference. It's up to you if you want it brighter, want it darker, up to you. Gamma as well, up to your personal preference on that. You can play about with those if you want. VSync, now I've disabled them. Unless you've got a high spec 60 plus frames per second computer, I would recommend disabling that. Okay, it's really not worth it. So now let's go to user interface. At the moment I've got mine windowed just because I'm recording. Obviously you would probably do full screen and you would max it. So for the purpose of this video I got mine rendered, but you would probably want to do it on that one. That would be my one which I'd set, and that would just cover the whole screen, and that would be the best setting. Of course I'm doing it in Windows because I'm recording this screen, so that's why I've got mine like that. Size, that's up to your personal preference again. Aspect ratio, you will change this to max, to whatever your monitor is, to match your monitor pretty much. So you can I got mine 16:9 because mine's a wide. If you're unsure about any of this, you can just leave it the same, because the chances are it's probably on the right setting anyway, but if it's not, just play about with it. You can always change it back if you do it wrong, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, so we're going to close that after we do that, and then we're going to go into quality. Objects need to be set to low. The reason why they're set to low is because this is the best sort of balance between good performance and quality. So it's a good, even if you've got a high-end PC, you know, low is probably a good medium to go for. I mean, you can try higher if you really want, but for the purpose of this video we're going to go low. Very low or low for terrain. I'm going to go low. Clouds, set to disabled. You don't really need clouds. You really don't need clouds. Shadows, set to normal. Again, it's going to have to reload it now. Again, you don't need a huge, and the sun's got really bright in the game now because I disabled the clouds, but really you don't really need clouds, to be honest, unless you want them for visual aspect. There's not that many clouds in the game, to be honest, so these settings which we've just done here will have the largest impact on the game. So these settings here, even if you haven't followed the other settings correctly, or you haven't followed it exactly, these ones I recommend you do, because these ones will have a larger impact on your game performance. Okay, I just want to point that out before we go for it further. Okay, so now we're going to go to textures. Video memory should be set to auto. Texture detail should be set to high or very high. I got mine set to very high. Texture filtering should be high or very high. Again, mine's very high. And that's it for that one. And then we go to rendering settings. Anti-aliasing will be set to, I need to change that to normal. Normal will be fine. Normal is all you need at 1080p, so normal is fine. Alpha of coverage set to all trees. All trees and grass. I choose to disable this because personally it's it looks fine with it disabled, but I've got to have it disabled. But recommendedly you know you can have it on, but I don't have it disabled. Even though I've got to write it down on my guide that I have that you should have, that you can have it on, I have it disabled just because I just think if you don't need it, what's the point in having it, sort of attitude. But you can have that on if you want. But as I said, if you are going to change it, set it to all trees and grass. If you don't want any of it, just disable it if it doesn't work you. Edge smoothing should be set to disabled. HDR quality should be on very low. Ambient occlusion should be disabled for performance gameplay. Post-process quality should also be disabled for performance and gameplay. Bloom, that's pure cosmetic. I don't have that on at all. You can choose that on. I choose to have it off because I don't see the point in bloom, to be honest. Rotational blur, that's motion blur, recommended off for default. Again, I don't have that on because again, if you if you don't need it, what's the point in having it? That's my attitude to most things. So that's it then. Again, these settings will affect your performance as well, so make sure you pay attention to those. So that's it, pretty much. That's that's the recommended settings for the game. So let's have a look and see how these look now. So if I load in, I'll just load into a random game now. We'll just have a look. I'm not going to do much. I'm not going to run around much. We'll just have a look around and just see how the graphics look. So as you can see, graphics look fine. Everything looks as it should, really. So even though we disable quite a lot, it still hasn't really had that much of an impact on the game. And the performance is fine, no lag at all, which you'd expect, and it works fine. So that's it. That is the DayZ recommended settings tutorial. I hope you found this helpful. If you do have any questions, or comments, or whichever, or any additional settings which you find work better, feel free to post them in the comments to help everyone out, and I'll try and answer any questions anyone has. Thank you for watching. This is CoinPixels. Goodbye.